She's got a rise ball, a screwball, a drop ball, a fastball. She's somebody that truly relies on her spin and her movement on her pitches.
Hayden Bush, first pitch swinging over to right field and over Megan Upp's head. Misplayed that one in the air, and Hayden Bush is still running. She's at third.
That's the way you set the tone for the rest of your offense. Hayden Bush wasting absolutely no time and just crushes the very first pitch that she sees. This is a curveball tailing away from her, and she swings where the pitch is. She goes towards right field, drives it all the way out towards the wall, able to slide in safely into third base to get things going here in the bottom of the first.
Remember, this Nevada team had a very short turnaround as we saw a number of weather delays yesterday. 3 hours plus in both of our games. They were the late game, but H-Bomb saying, I'm not worried about that at all. All that matters is that we advance. Win or go home time in the quarterfinals of the Little League Softball World Series. Trying to bring her home as Paige Beskey. 2 balls and no strikes to the 12-year-old. Beskey, who they rely on to advance the runners, pops this one up and back foul.
Our head coach says that she's a fantastic bunter there, trying to lay down the bunt, getting her barrel slightly underneath it. That's where the spin from Ava Koenig comes into play. Those pitches that have a bit of upspin, sometimes you can get batters to pop up when they're trying to lay down that sack bunt.
Beskey trying again, and now 2 balls and 2 strikes. And she'll be swinging away, I assume. Enriquez looks for the sign. Koenig ready. One on the outside part of the plate. Count draws full.
I think it's really important here for Paige Beskey to do whatever she can to try to have a productive at-bat. Try to lift that ball out into the grass to score that run.
Instead, Koenig gets the strikeout.
After giving up that leadoff triple, Ava Koenig settles right back into Paige Beskey. Falls behind 2-0. A couple of foul balls gets her back even in the count, and then she goes to that curveball, moving up and away from Beskey for a big-time strikeout.
And here's Gracie Britton, who we mentioned has had a hit in each of her games. That one coming in, and she checks that one foul.
And I also need to make sure I mention that she's gotten a hit both from the right side of the batter's box and the left side as well. A power hitter on both sides of the field.
Big fans of Gracie in the stands. Many have come out to support these Little Leaguers and waiting on that change up, and it was foul.
It's a good piece of hitting there. You could see that she recognized that off speed on its way to her. A lot of times hitters tend to stay away from those off speeds early in the count, but she's so confident in her ability to adjust on that pitch. She goes for it on that 0-1 count.
The 0-2 from Koenig. Well, already it's Missouri applying some pressure here as Hayden Bush at third base. The triple to start off the game. Britton can bring her home. And she's able to do so into the right center gap. Shallow playing over. And coming up with the first run is Missouri.
That swing right there just shows you the strength of Gracie Britton up at the plate. This is a good pitch coming up and inside. Got her jammed up a bit, but she's able to get that thing out into the grass to give her team the lead here in the bottom of the first.
And Ava Hansen on the cleanup. She's up to bat now as Gracie Britton moves over to second base on the pass ball. Hansen, who we featured in the Open. Let me tell you, during this 3-game win streak for Missouri, she's gone 4 for 8 with a couple of doubles, a home run, and 6 RBI during that span. She's ahead in the count here, 2-0. Make it 3 balls, no strikes.
You know, it's interesting talking to Coach Nick Britton before we got to this regionals, asking him about Ava Hansen. He said all it's going to take is for her to get on time, and she can absolutely crush it, and we have seen fantastic examples of that throughout this week.
And the 4-pitch walk to Hansen. And this is what separates some of these teams that we've seen, especially in the hitting side, the offensive side. They take advantage of opportunities, but also they are so stout, top to bottom, solid hitters, and Brooklyn Center is among them.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that we've seen throughout this week. A trend for the teams that have won their games is not just being able to get hits from 1 or 2 batters in the lineup, but getting consistent quality at-bats 1 through 9.
Fooling her there was Ava Koenig, gets her swinging, strike 1. Meanwhile, Gracie Britton steals another base. She has taken off multiple times throughout this week.
Well, and she just noticed that off-speed coming out of the hand of Ava Koenig. Look at her reading that one as soon as it gets by her. Just taking off, taking advantage of any base she can, and because she was able to take third, that allows Ava Hansen to move on over into scoring position. So now 2 runners in scoring position for Brooklyn Center.
Outside part of the plate, and I'll tell you, after that opening game loss to Virginia, Missouri has gone on a tear, outscored their opponents 13-3 coming into this morning's contest.
When you wonder if maybe Missouri had a bit of nerves stepping foot out here on the field in Greenville, going up against a fantastic pitcher in Jenna Kiefer herself. I believe she ended up racking up 14 strikeouts in that game to start off the tournament. I'd say that's a good way to get things going for your team. But since then, it seems like they have shaken off the nerves, really settled in up at the plate. Already in this bottom of the first inning, we're seeing them be aggressive yet patient at the same time. They are swinging at pitches that they can drive out into the outfield. Big reason why they've already gotten themselves a lead early in this ballgame.
Well, during their regional run, they scored 35 runs on 36 hits. So they came in swinging it well. And since then, they have settled in a groove, and on the ground is Brooklyn Center deep into that shortstop hole. But what a throw by Charlie Seamy to get her another one. Plates for Missouri, but good defense there in that routine ground ball.
A great productive out by Brooklyn Center. It's another off-speed. She gets around it, but hits it over into that 5-6 hole. A great defensive play by Charlie Seamy as well, knowing as soon as she moved over into that 5-6 hole, she had no shot of getting Gracie Britton at home. Decides to fire it across the diamond to get out number 2.
We saw Kennedy Watson with a triple in her last game, helping her effort. Has a chance to tack on some more insurance here. Runner 60 feet away from home with 2 outs. After Wednesday's loss to Virginia, Missouri came back to win 5-3 over Texas, shut out New York. And another victory of the 2-0 decision to New Jersey. Maybe I flip-flopped them there, New Jersey and New York. Taking all the way, 3 balls and a strike now to Watson. So Ava Koenig trying to do her best to get out of this inning without seeing any more runs put up by Missouri. The 3-2 on the way. And Watson lifts that one to center field. It drops. So an RBI for Kennedy Watson. And right now, Missouri starting to pour it on.
Missouri just continuing to show their strength up at the plate. Another good pitch out of the hand of Koenig coming up and in on the hands of Kennedy Watson. but she's so strong up there that she's able to muscle that one out into center field to get another run across the board. And as that one skipped past Barkhoff in center field, Kennedy Watson moves her way into scoring position.
The 7-hole hitter, Afton Regan, at the plate. Regan swings and fouls that one away, 0-2. She's been a dependable bat in the lineup for Missouri.
Koenig has been throwing some really good pitches in there, but these Missouri batters are fouling them off. That one, another off speed out of her hand, dropping down in the zone, almost at Regan's shins, but she's still able to get a piece of it.
Good pitch there, just high. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Now, we've noticed throughout this week, a big part of the first inning especially is establishing that strike zone. What sort of calls are you going to get back there behind home plate?
That's all a part of figuring it out. And Ava Koenig just needs 1 strike, 1 out to get out of the inning. Good patience there by Regan after going down to the count, 0-2. And the 2-out walk, and runners at first and second. Ava Koenig right now laboring a little bit. Charlie Seaman coming over just to make sure she's okay.
Several tough at-bats that we're seeing from Missouri, as we mentioned. Ava Koenig staying around the zone, getting ahead of these batters, but then Missouri is fouling off the close pitches, letting the balls go, and working their way to an advantage in these ABs.
And this is not an excuse for Nevada, but again, the lack of rest, the quick turnaround for them. Their game was pushed back to somewhere in the 4 o'clock hour yesterday, and then had a 3-hour plus delay in that matchup against North Carolina. The 2 seed was on the line in the Mendoza pool, and this one sharply hit the shortstop, and Charlie Seamy ends the inning, but not before Missouri sets the tone. They hang 3 in the first. It's Nevada. We'll see how they respond coming back. And then they just said, let's just bring it on here to Greenville. Why not? Starting off the inning is Charlie Seamy, who grounds it over to Hayden Bush, and Hayden Bush is well represented, as we saw already in the signs department.
A big part about this Little League Softball World Series is making all of these players on each one of these teams feel incredibly special, and you've got to give a huge shout out to Kinsley for wanting to do her part, and of course with the other siblings involved with Missouri's team, to make each one of these players feel big time out there, because they are. We've seen them perform at such a high level.
Yeah, and watching big sister Kennedy have so much success and this run to the World Series, Kinsley's like, I'm going to sign up for Little League. So she will join the Daniel Boone Little League program this fall.
You think she's already scouting where she, wants to place her bat bag in the dugout?
Off the end of the bat of Giovanni Corneal, and Corneal will be safe as Romanetto has it pop out of the glove.
Corneal just putting this ball in play, trying to make something happen, hit right off of the end of the bat, almost like a sneaky bunt. Kennedy Watson popping out of the circle there, firing it over to first, but Romanetto just not able to hang on to it, and that could be the spark that Nevada needs to get some run production going.
First base runner for Nevada. Here's Jules Fee. Swing and a miss for strike 1. Fee, a vocal leader and one of the captains on the infield for this team. Also He's a really cool kid. I love the aspirations for these young ladies. She has a lot that she can choose from, what she wants to do. A lot of real estate, stockbroker, serve in the military. She's got options, but no more against Watson as she strikes out.
Now betting, number 18.
This is a drop ball on the outside half of the plate to Juliana Fee. Kennedy Watson throwing 3 in a row, noticing that Fee was swinging over top of that. Nice job by Watson to bounce back after getting that runner on board to get the second out of this inning.
Megan Up, the 12-year-old out of Las Vegas. Favorite player Delaney Spalding had a chance to meet her. Of course, Spalding a part of Team USA that brought home silver in the summer games. She said it was Spalding that gave her some hitting tips and an autograph to she and her sister Danny, who is her pitching coach.
I'd say that's a good one to get some hitting tips from.
Yeah. Again, a grounder back to Watson, and that ends the inning. So Missouri rolling right now off the arm of Kennedy Watson. We'll catch all the excitement from the Little League Baseball and Softball World Series tournaments and visit the first ever virtual fan experience. Visit littleleague.org/fan zone. Well, the fans from Summerlin South out of Las Vegas, Nevada, traveled more than 2,400 miles to make it here in Greenville to watch their team play, trailing by 3, but they have plenty of time to try to come back in this one. Caitlin Romanetto leading it off here. And smacks it over to Simi. Simi, who has been so busy there at short again with a strong arm, and gets her out.
Charlie Simi just so smooth over there at shortstop, making this backhand look easy. She gets a great read of these balls right off of the bat. A good first step, snags it, and then shows off that cannon of an arm she's got over there, firing it across the diamond.
Jim Linehan talked about the way she was able to just read and react. A 5-tool player. You have to appreciate it as a former All-American shortstop at Tennessee.
Yeah, that 5-tool player aspect. And Coach Jim Linehan did say that about several of the athletes on his team, but specifically for Charlie Simi. And what he means by that is she's got a great bat. She can hit, she can field, she can throw, she can run, and she can think the game. So those reads off of the bat make a huge difference when you're out there on defense.
Hayden Bush, who led off this game with a triple, came around to score on the RBI single from Gracie Britton. And H-Bombs fans are in the stands. swing and a miss there. Koenig registering 55 miles per hour on that one.
I'll tell you what, Tiffany, I'm digging the green light on the 3-0 count, too. Aggressive, knowing she was going to get a good pitch to swing at.
Again, swinging away. Now 3-2. Well, the reason why she's in that leadoff spot is she knows how to get on base. Hayden Bush is really productive in regionals. And again, finds a way to get aboard.
Koenig looked like she was just trying to work this ball down in the zone and just let go of it a bit too soon. Skips down into the dirt. Hits her right there on the right leg. That's one of the reasons why they have Hayden Bush in that leadoff position, because she's such a high percentage on base batter. She sets the table for the rest of the lineup.
Paige Beskey, one of the smallest on this team, staying at 5 feet even. But loves to execute her role and does so to perfection and bobbled there. And she's aboard safely.
Her coaches told us that she's a fantastic bunter, and we just saw a great example of that, pushing this ball in between Ava Koenig in the pitcher's circle and Juliana Fee over at first base. Both of them crashing hard to field this ball. A bit of a miscommunication allows Paige Beskey to reach base safely.
Jim Linehan comes out, talks to his infield, and we'll listen in.
Settle down. You're all right. Keep doing your thing. You got dirty, filthy pitches. Keep those going. You got to let her have that ball, though, right? That's her ball. She's coming in. She's got the angle on that. We got to settle down. We got to do the things we've been doing. All right? Settle down. We got one out. Let's make the play right now. Let's go. Come on. Let's go.
Manager Jim Linehan just letting those ladies know, look, you got plenty of time. Just do what you do. I love it. He's like, you got filthy pitches.
And she does. She has great movement on the pitches that she throws out there. One thing that we've seen out of Coach Linehan throughout this entire week is just how calm, cool, and collected he is every single time he comes out to the circle to talk to his team, no matter what the situation is, always giving great advice. You heard him just talking to Juliana Fee over there at first base about that bunt, because Ava Koenig has that momentum as she's fielding it to throw the ball over to first base. That's why he's saying that should have been the pitcher's ball. Again, just some things that you have to communicate when that ball's put in play.
Right into the glove, pops in and out. Koenig able to collect it, gets the runner at second base. The throw over to third, not in time.
This one hit hot off the bat of Gracie Britton, right back at Ava Koenig in the circle. Line drive up the middle. Looks like she has it and then drops it. Smart play to get the force over at second base to at least make sure you got one out on that play.
2 away for Ava Hansen, who walked last inning. Came around to score another run for Missouri. They put up 3 in the opening frame.
And with Gracie Britton back over there on first base, I would not be surprised if we see her take off to steal in the next couple of pitches.
And exactly as you said it, she takes off and she's in with another stolen base. Gracie Britton, the daughter of manager Nick Britton, standing over at third base. Ava Hansen way out in front of that one. Good pitch from Koenig.
Big smile on Ava Hansen's face, knowing that she was so far out in front of that pitch, did not pick up the off speed out of the hand of Koenig. A great example of that filthy pitch that Jim Linehan was talking about.
Right down the pipe and 2-2. So 2 on, 2 out. In the bottom of the second, Koenig with the pitch. Low in the dirt, good block there by Kayleen Enriquez. Fifth full count as Missouri making Ava Koenig work. Hansen way out in front of that one, and that pitch worked for Ava Koenig.
Ava Koenig finds herself in a jam yet again, but she pulls the string on the off-speed to get one of the hottest hitters out in that Missouri lineup. Missouri still leads it 3-0.
Virginia over on ESPN News. Some fantastic games on the way, leading all the way up to that championship Wednesday, as a World Series champ will be crowned over on ESPN. We've got the coverage all the way through. Madison Shipman, Tiffany Green here with you from Stallings Stadium. And after the pandemic knocked out a little bit of everything, no tournament last year, these ladies have been so excited to get back on the field, soak up this experience, have fun with their teammates, and try to win along the way.
Well, we have just seen them smile through rain delays, through a little bit of everything, just because these young ladies are so excited to get the opportunity to compete here in Greenville and try to bring back a championship to their hometowns. And talking to them and reading through their questionnaires, they have so much pride in being here and representing where they come from, so much pride in their teammates and the hard work that they've put in throughout the season to get to this point. That's why we're seeing them lay it all out on the line on Elimination Monday.
It means so much to them, but again, through adversity and through some of those tough times with the weather delay, you start, you stop, you have a quick turnaround. If you're in Nevada to get back on the field, the first game of the day, you shake it off and you just say, you count it all joy. Been here for 5 days of pool play, and if you can make it to the quarterfinal round, you've got to be smiling.
And they had some of the most creative ways to pass the time during those rain delays as well. Dance parties out into the outfield, even a tic-tac-toe game that was on a softball being thrown back and forth across the field between Texas and Arizona, showing great sportsmanship as well.
But it was Nevada's fancy feet and footwork, the line dancing in their delay with North Carolina. They went to the outfield and let's just say they had themselves a grand old time. And we caught some of the fever too. Like, we had to get moving as well, and they featured it this morning on SportsCenter.
I was going to say, they inspired us to try to show off our dance moves up in the booth.
Barkhoff, the slow roller over to first base, and the flip by Romanetta to Besky just in time for the first out.
A little bit of fancy footwork out there on the dirt as well on that play. Soft hit ball off the bat of Barkhoff down into the infield. She takes off immediately, hustling all the way down the line, and a solid flip by Caitlin Romanetto to Paige Besky, who's there perfectly to cover first.
Nevada had that Cupid shuffle working yesterday, and that rain delay, and oh yeah, to the left, to the left, to the left, and you gotta do what? Kick, yeah, and walk it by yourself. And I'm sure John Buchagras was loving it as well, one of the relatives for Ellie Chip Prindle. They have been just so much fun to watch, as has Kennedy Watson, who continues to mow them down.
I think this is one of the best games that we've seen her throw throughout this entire week. She is commanding that curveball. She is moving it into those right-handed batters. They think it's going to end up tailing away from them. It comes back into the strike zone. And she has been feeling that pitch.
Well, you think about what Watson did against Arizona. She was pretty decent, but I think that Saturday game really jumps out. She had a one-hit shutout, complete game, in that victory over New York 2-0. Thus far, she has not allowed a hit. And great backhand to the knees. Hayden Bush makes it over to first base. Web Jim. Oh yeah, can we get a top 10 play?
Tiffany, I am on my feet up here in the booth. These plays that these shortstops are making have me fired up. Hayden Bush going down to her knees, firing it across to first. That's how you get the people going.
League is going to tweet that one out and gets plenty of love, right? Because we've already seen former collegiate players tip their hat to the terrific play of these girls through pool play.
I just think it's so great that these Olympic athletes, fantastic collegiate athletes, are tuned in to these young ladies here in Greenville.
Brooklyn Center with the chopper over to Alexis Kern, the 4-3 put out, and we've seen Cricket Kearns make some nice plays on the infield on the right side as well.
Well, we've seen her do it up at the plate, but she is so smooth over at second base, reading hops. She knows she has a little bit more time playing second base to get those outs over at first. Make sure she gets a good cherry hop rather than charging it and getting kind of caught in between on a mid-hop.
Cricket, who turns 12 next month, wants to see a 1-2-3 inning put together by Ava Koenig as she faces off against Kennedy Watson, singled last time up. And I think the difference between the pitchers speaks volumes, given the fact that Koenig threw 38 pitches in the first inning alone. Watson, 37 in total through 3 innings. Opposite field, near the left field line, and it's foul.
And when I'm thinking back to a lot of these Missouri at-bats, specifically the hits, a lot of them were on 2 strikes. So Koenig is doing her job of getting ahead, but these Missouri batters are fouling off the close pitches, working their way into full counts, and forcing Koenig to have to bring the ball over the heart of the plate. And so far, Missouri's been able to capitalize on those favorable hitters' counts.
Kennedy Watson looking at a full count. And this one, base hit just past the diving shortstop Simi. And a 1-out single for Kennedy Watson. She's 2 for 2 today.
Another full count, the 6th full count that we've seen from Koenig today, and a great piece of hitting by Kennedy Watson, not trying to do too much with that pitch on the low and outside part of the strike zone, hitting it straight through the 5-6 hole to get something going in the bottom of the 3rd.
I don't know if it's you, but ever since we started paying attention to Kinsley's sign in the stands, it's like Kennedy Watson has just upped her game even more.
You know, you got to wonder if there's a bit of a sibling deal happening. Maybe for every hit that Kennedy gets, Kinsley has to make a new sign up in the stands. I'm not sure.
And so Nova Porter at the plate, the pinch hitter. We saw Steve Regan make the change, one of the coaches, along with Carrie Bush and the manager, Nick Britton. Nova Porter, it's that one foul. Porter is a player that you just don't want to mess with. You don't want to tussle with her. You don't want to wrestle with her, because guess what? She will pin you down.
Top wrestler in the state in the girls division, but she also wrestles against the boys, and she's pretty good there as well. I love this picture, seeing her right there in the middle up on that first place podium.
Yeah, she was top 3 among the boys, and when we saw in that picture, if we could pop it back up, I don't think the young fella was too happy.
He did not look thrilled with him being on that 3rd place podium and Nova standing there proudly on the 1st place podium.
Oh, that one low. Porter can't believe it, much like homeboy to the right, but guess what? Ava Koenig able to get the strikeout and retire Porter.
It's a nice pitch on the low outside part of the plate. Again, we're establishing the strike zone throughout the game, so not just in the 1st inning, but also as this game continues to move along. Koenig getting a strike low in the zone there, and if that's a strike that she can get called consistently, I would keep it there until Missouri can prove that they can hit that ball into the outfield.
Number 17 is a pinch hitter.
Nick Britton, all smiles and chatting it up with Lauren Christ, who will come in as a pinch hitter. The mandatory play rule, so everyone will get their at-bat, and they can finish that at-bat if they get on base and run for themselves. And so here's Lauren Christ in her first opportunity. So many of these young ladies talked about how Missouri softball, the collegiate level, the Tigers, watching them has really helped to inspire them. Very much well connected, having attended camps, and they are definitely all in on Mizzou.
And if you've watched Missouri softball compete at all, you know that they do not get cheated on any one of their swings when they are up at the plate. And we are seeing that from this Missouri All-Star team as well. Tons of power in their bat, aggressive at-bats, hunting pitches up there. And we just have continued to see their bats get hotter and hotter as this tournament has gone on.
Koenig, though, ahead in the count, and she strikes out Chris. So a couple of strikeouts here for Ava Koenig, and Nevada has some work to do, but good news, Cricket Kearns is up.
Ava Koenig really feeling that changeup, pulling the string, getting her team back in the dugout.
Was a lot younger, started playing rec ball around 6 years old, and it's something that just stuck. And you know what? That smile sticks in your memory because she is one that plays with sass and style. She knows when the camera's on her exactly what to do.
Well, and here's just a great opportunity as we get later into this game, her leading off here in the top of the fourth inning to be that spark plug that Nevada needs to get something going offensively. You can't win the ball game with just one swing of the bat. So for Kearns, she's got to do whatever she can just to reach base safely, pass that bat along to her teammate. But for Nevada, what better person could you have up in this situation than Alexis Kearns?
It's Kearns, Koenig, and Simi due up in the top half of the fourth. Kearns, the chopper, back to Watson. One pitch, one out.
Love the aggressiveness from Kearns attacking the first pitch that she sees, and it's that late movement on the curveball out of the hand of Watson that gets Kearns to hit that one off the end of the bat right to her to record out number one.
Kearns goes back into the dugout, but Ava Koenig, the starting pitcher for Nevada, now at the plate, and Koenig, who was scorching through regional play en route to their West Championship, has been incredibly consistent here in Greenville. Nevada searching for their first hit, not gonna get it. 2 pitches, 2 outs. Quick work made of Kearns and Koenig.
And you can just hear when these Nevada batters are making contact with the ball that it's off the very end of the bat. That's why we've seen several ground balls hit already to the infield. And the defense all over it, charging those balls and making those plays over at first.
That went in there for a ball. Speaking of defense, you think about Charlie Simi and Hayden Bush, both of them playing shortstop for their respective teams. And they have done a nice job. Simi is a big fan of Sis Bates, the former All-American shortstop from Washington, now playing with Athletes Unlimited. Part of that original draft class. It's Simi on the ground to Bush, and Bush does it. So 6 pitches to retire Nevada in the top half of the fourth, and Watson smiling and rolling back.
For Nevada, no runs, no hits, no errors, and no one left on base. The league would like to thank our official partners including T-Mobile and Major League Baseball's Payment Initiative for their continued support. All right, fans, it's time for the 4th inning stretch. Everyone stand up and sing along to Take Me Out to the Ball Game.
guys, it's Hattie Moore here with Mizzou Softball. I just wanted to hop on here and wish all of you the best of luck this week in the Little League World Series, especially my Missouri girls. And a piece of advice I have for all of you is to enjoy every minute of playing with your friends. It goes by super fast, and these are the best days of your life. So always have fun and keep working hard. Good luck.
Missouri's top catcher is returning for another year, and I know Daniel Boone Little League players are especially excited about that because of the connection to the University of Missouri. They absolutely love collegiate softball in Como, which happens to also be the birthplace of former NASCAR driver Carl Edwards. You may remember him, the number 99 car. And Kennedy Watson right now has to love the fact that Hattie Moore has been so invested. How about Kayla Kessinger as well, giving you some insight to this Little League team?
Yeah, Kayla Kessinger wanted me to make sure that I let everybody know how good of listeners this Missouri squad was. They were soaking up every single moment they had to talk to such a great collegiate player and herself, but she just wanted to give them some advice on what to expect and what it feels like to play on a big stage like this, taking a look at the Daniel Boone Little League team, having a Zoom with Kayla Kessinger. And she just told them to focus on the little things, not make the game bigger than it is. And with the little things, it's laying down a sacrifice bunt, running out a ball hit to the infield. Just those little things are what can lead to a championship. And Kayla thoroughly enjoyed getting an opportunity to talk to these young ladies. And as you mentioned, Tiffany, these young girls look up to those collegiate athletes so much, watching everything that they do when they're out there on the field, trying to be like them when they're out here playing in Greenville.
The first Columbia team, softball side, to make it to the Little League Softball World Series. And when we talked with the manager, Nick Britton, he mentioned how the town just really rallied around this team. They had fundraisers. They found a way to chip in for travel expenses. They spread the word via social media. Everyone cared about Daniel Boone Little League. Well, we'll have the series finale between the Red Sox and the Yankees Wednesday night at 7 Eastern from the Bronx on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and the ESPN app. One app, one tap. Big series coming up in the Bronx. Of course, the Yankees acquiring Anthony Rizzo, Joey Gallo, one of the most powerful hitters in Major League Baseball. That should be an interesting series, as it has long been. So Nova Porter over at first base as the pinch runner. And at the plate, he is Hayden Bush. And Porter taking off easily, and she steals the base and goes in with a little bit of an awkward slide, grabbing the back of her left leg. Or maybe she's just pulling my leg and everybody else in the stadium.
I see what you did there, Tiffany. It looks like her feet just slip right out from underneath her. She had too much speed going into second base. She had to slow it down somehow.
Hayden Bush pops it over to Kearns at second base and one down.
Just shows you how important it was for Nova Porter to move on over into scoring position. Hayden Bush not getting the result she wants there, a fly ball over to Alexis Kearns, but there's still a runner in scoring position for Paige Beskey.
Beskey, who struck out her first time up, laid down the sac bunt, which was called an error. I think we'll see a change here, a pinch hitter, with Sydney Palmer going over to talk to Nick Britton, getting some last-minute tips. Palmer, 7th grader at Hallsville Middle.
See her turn into square to lay down that sacrifice bunt, just getting too far on top of that pitch. That's where the spin on the pitch is out of the hand of Ava Koenig really come into play, trying to move that ball at the last minute to make sure they don't get this in fair territory.
Swing and a miss, and Koenig is ahead in the count, 0-2. Ava Koenig, who is just battling out there. Born in Raleigh, about 85 miles from here, the state capital of North Carolina. She returns, and her team won the first two, dropped the last two, and must win this one to advance to the semifinals tomorrow. She gets Palmer swinging. Another strikeout recorded for Ava Koenig.
What we're seeing out of Ava Koenig as this game has gone on is better command of that changeup. Earlier on in the game, it was falling down into the dirt, and now she's getting ahead of these batters and being able to locate that changeup right at the knees to get out of some jams and a couple of swings and misses.
5 strikeouts this morning for Ava Koenig. Koenig, who had success against Indiana, complete game, only gave up 3 hits, struck out 14 in that winning effort. Gracie Britton, you see the superstition there, as many of these players are. She wears her socks inside out, whatever it takes. If she's going to keep hitting like that, then do whatever you got to do.
It's only crazy if it doesn't work, right? And I believe that got started. I think she unintentionally put them on inside out and had a good game. And, hey, why not just keep that trend going? Now, I always wonder, too, if the superstitions continue to change with the trends of how they're doing up at the plate. Maybe some games it's right side out. Sometimes it's inside out.
Waiting on that one, almost ate up by Seamy, but Seamy somehow still continues to make a terrific play. Charlie Seamy, show it off, girl.
These shortstops came here to show out today. They have me on my feet up in the booth. Charlie Seamy getting that one, firing it across. How about the stretch by Juliana Fee over there as well? We've got some defense today. Well, getting this RBI single out to center field, showing off that opposite field power as well. And she has continued to get stronger as this game has gone on.
Well, we talked with Nick Britton. He said she has the ability to dominate, and she has just gotten into a zone. And Kennedy Watson, ever so fierce in the circle. Remember, she pitched a no-hitter back in the state tournament, and she has also pitched a one-hit gem earlier this week, and now, I don't want to say it, but you see it on the line for Nevada, as Watson has been spotless through 4.
Yeah, she's just been truly great so far in this game. Again, it's that curveball on the outside part of the zone. You can tell on a couple of takes by these Nevada batters, they're leaning a little bit, which tells you there's a ton of late movement, so they think it's going to end up in one spot. It ends up coming back across in the strike zone.
And a strike into Giovanni Corneal. And Corneal, who is the only base runner, she reached on an error back in the second. Outside of that, Nevada, who is a very good hitting team, we've seen the offensive production has not been able to get going. But you talk about a catalyst, a player who can jumpstart him, is JoJo Corneal, the grounder over to Besky, and 1 down, but still a time for you to just relish in this moment if you're Giovanni Corneal, because why? One of the best collegiate players to ever play, and Rachel Garcia, the Olympian, saying, hey, look, you are amazing, keep it up. This Bruin is watching, as she loves to see the pitchers that hit a great two-way player at UCLA.
Again, another example of a fantastic Olympian tuning in to watch these young ladies compete. Rachel Garcia, 2-time National Collegiate Player of the Year. Olympic silver medalist now after this past summer, and probably one of the most clutch hitters to ever play the game. It always seemed like she came up with the game on the line in the World Series, and she was able to come through for her team.
And this is how the sport of softball gets better. This is why there is such a tight-knit community. It's because of the reach back, making sure that these young ladies feel connected to the game as is, what they watch on television, what they have grown to love over their time, and it continues to stir and brew.
Well, even the two pools just being named after players like Jenny Finch and Jessica Mendoza, and reading how many of these young ladies still look up to those players because not just of what they did with their skill set on the field, but how much they continue to give back to this game. Giovanna Christmas, a great example of that, her favorite athlete being Jenny Finch.
This one scooped, played awkwardly, bouncing and in front. And perhaps the first base hit given up by Kennedy Watson. We'll see how they rule it.
An interesting ball there off the bat of Christmas. A ton of spin to Brooklyn Center over at third base. I was wondering if she'd make contact with this ball right there. As she reaches for it, it ends up skipping out into foul territory. But the question I had was, did she touch that ball before it went over into foul territory? You can see her reading her lips right there saying, I didn't touch it. I didn't make contact with it. Taking another look at it here. It was very close. It had a ton of English on that ball put in play. Let's see. It doesn't look like she made contact with it, although she did look like she was trying to grab it.
Well, Brooklyn Center saying, I didn't touch it. Now you can take another look at it right here. Does she? I don't know. I think the trajectory of the ball maybe kind of spins off awkwardly a little bit. I mean, but the ball is just rolling kind of crazily anyway. You talked about that English. And Nick Britton could very well ask the umpires to have a discussion about that. We've seen instant replay instituted this year, and going to the phones and talking to the folks up at Williamsport. A number of things can be under review. Whether this one was fair or foul is one of them. But you see the blue crew getting together. And Brian Wolf will have a quick conversation with Nick Britton. We'll see what comes of it. And he's going to want to review it. Wisely so. So Brian Wolf will go to the tent.
And each one of these coaches are allowed 2 unsuccessful challenges throughout the game. Unlimited successful challenges. But here as we're getting later into this game, top of the 5th inning, I would challenge it as well. As we take another look at it here, there's just so much spin on this ball. And I think it's important to note that the call on the field was that it was a fair ball, that Brooklyn Center made contact with it, and thus allowing Christmas to reach base safely over at first. So there's got to be indisputable video evidence to show that she did not make any contact with it in order to overturn it.
And as we're looking at it here, Madison, just so tough to tell. We saw on those couple of replays, you know, if it is overturned, the no-hitter would still be in place. If not, Gia Christmas would have the first hit. So they're calling it a foul ball, and Gia Christmas will come back to the plate. Brooklyn Center's like, yeah, I told you.
Well, we were reading her lips. As soon as that play was called, she immediately said, I didn't touch it. I didn't touch it. So much spin on that one. Looks like Nevada had already taken Gia Christmas's bat and put it in the dugout, and she's got to pull that one back out and get ready to hit.
So Christmas back up to swing it. The count 0-2. that one painted on the outside corner, and Christmas is retired.
Again, a curveball that Kennedy Watson has had command of throughout this game. This one located right at the knees. Look how far outside Gracie Britton is set up, all the way in that left-handed batter's box. This pitch starts in that batter's box, curves back across into the lower outside part of the strike zone. And Kennedy Watson, even after that delay, just coming back out there and firing a strike in there.
At this point, you thinking she's aware about the no-no she's got going so far?
You know, it's funny because I feel like my teammates, my pitching teammates, were never quite aware of the fact that it was happening. It was one of the things that you never talked about in the dugout. Nobody wanted to be that person that mentioned it, so we all just kind of pretended like it wasn't happening, and nobody looked at the scoreboard.
Well, right now, Gracie Britton calling a great game behind the plate for Kennedy Watson. Tiffany Gonzalez, the pinch hitter, up, and a strike delivered from Watson. That was one of the things that you liked about Gracie Britton, the fact that she has the ability to call her own pitches. Gonzalez swinging and missing.
Yeah, and getting a chance to talk to Gracie Britton before this Little League World Series, she said that what got her into catching is wanting to be involved on every single pitch. And what better way to be involved than to call your own game back there behind the plate? And how about that? Gracie Britton knows that that curveball is truly working for Kennedy Watson. And if it's working, keep on throwing it in there. Kennedy Watson dealing, Gracie Britton fired up. Missouri's going to see if they can tack on a few more in the bottom of the fifth.
Stadium and quarterfinals starting off with the bang. Missouri with the leadoff base hit by Ava Hansen, who has a hit in all of her games.
Just by that swing, you can tell that Ava Hansen is constantly thinking about her bats, what she needs to do better. She struck out on a changeup in her last at-bat back in the second inning. She goes up to this one thinking, hey, I'm going to sit that pitch early, drive it out into the outfield, and she does exactly that to get things going in the bottom of the fifth.
Steve Regan making the call. What was dubbed the bat phone earlier. Casey talking to Coach Britton.
Number 18, Lydia Casey. Number 25, Brooklyn Central.
Casey, who has been a good hitter, still searching for her first of this tournament. Pops up the bunt, and a charging Cornell overruns it. Nobody covering third base. And safe is Ava Hansen, so runners at the corners.
Ava Hansen flexing on him over at third base. This is a nice job by Casey, bringing her barrel up, getting it down on the ground, and because the entire infield charged to field that ground ball, it left third base unoccupied, something that Ava Hansen noticed as she was rounding second base and made her way all the way over to third on that bunt.
The bunt single and first base hit for Lydia Casey. Here's Kennedy Watson, 2 singles today, had an RBI back in the first to push the lead to 3-0. And Kennedy Watson and her team wanting to tack on that insurance and get closer and closer to awaiting the winner of our games later today to advance to the semifinals. All right, Koenig, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Watson pops that one back foul.
You know, it is a batter when some of those pitches are called farther up in the zone. You just got to shake it off and get that very next pitch. So I like the idea of Kennedy Watson there just fouling off that pitch up in the zone and knowing it was just called for a strike the pitch before.
Ball 3, and if you're Ava Koenig, not wanting to walk Watson to get in a bases loaded situation with no outs. And that's what she does right there.
It seems like Koenig is trying to over-adjust on that changeup after Ava Hansen got this inning started, driving that changeup out into left field. Those ones just missing down in the zone.
Well, during our time here at the World Series, we've gotten to know these young ladies, understanding their personalities a little bit more. Arizona arriving at Stallings Stadium, ready to go. They will face off against Oklahoma, who's trailing right behind them there. That's slated to start at 1 p.m. Eastern right here on ESPN2. When you talk Oklahoma, you think of the production you've seen from Goose Hutchins and Candace Burnett. They've scored the most runs in this tournament. Their offense has been clicking, but not to be outdone. Also excellent pitching as well. Through the 3-4 hole along the right side with the bases loaded, and Afton Regan drives in a run. Another tried to come across, but tagged at home was Lydia Casey.
A great piece of hitting by Afton Regan, getting this ball past the diving Alexis Kearns over there at second base, hitting it opposite field, driving it straight through there. And Missouri again showing that aggressive base running, coming around, trying to score Lydia Casey, who comes into home and doesn't slide. And I think because she didn't slide is what allowed KK Enriquez to apply that tag before she stepped on home. But regardless, another run coming across for Missouri.
And a quick deliberation here with the umpires. Not exactly sure what they're discussing here, but Brian Rolfe coming back behind the plate just to make sure that everybody saw the out at home plate. It's recorded. And now to the plate, Mackenzie Lucas, first pitch swinging. Cornell immediately going home, sliding in, and another play at home, and Enriquez applies the tag. The throw to second, and how about getting not one, but two Missouri runners to end the inning?
When your team is down by runs, what a better way to get that momentum back on your side than a couple of great defensive plays in this double play to get out of the inning. Nevada showing their toughness, applying the tag at the plate, heads up play, throwing it down to second base, and it's Alexis Kearns to finish it off, and Nevada's going to pick up the bats.
Of dreams for these players at the Little League Softball World Series, and Missouri just 3 outs away from advancing to the semifinals. Nevada up to bat. They've got 3 chances left, and leading it off here for Nevada is somebody who can get on base, somebody who can try to advance a runner, and Kylie Husson, the pinch hitter. Watson, who has been outstanding in this one. 74% of her pitches have gone for strikes. Kylie Husson, first time facing her, saying, I'm not worried about any of that. Husson, the 5th grader. Gibbons Elementary, and that one well outside the zone, but called third strike. And the 7th K for Watson.
That's a tough pitch for these Nevada batters to make an adjustment on, but Kennedy Watson just continues to go there. If it's going to be called strikes, keep on throwing it.
Well, Little League would like to extend a special thank you to its official sponsors like T-Mobile and Lance Sandwich Crackers, who help to maintain the strength and leadership of the Little League program. Little League would also like to thank its dedicated volunteers who make the program a special experience for millions of children. Volunteer umpires, we've seen these coaches who have dedicated their time to these young ladies, and of course the parents and all those caregivers who make the sacrifices to be here to give these girls an experience of a lifetime. Hallie Law coming up to hit. Law, one of those 11-year-olds, excuse me. Who's just a great student of the game. Jim Linehan says she's always going to give you top-notch effort. Swinging and a miss there. She's trailing in the count 1-2.
Yeah, great things that Coach Jim Linehan had to say about Hallie Law. Just the attitude and the effort that she brings every single day, not just to the games, but to the practices as well.
Law stayed off of that one, did go around. Also plays tennis competitively, and Jim Linehan, who has given 15 years to Little League, is excited to coach players like Hallie Law. Law over to center. Center throws to first base. High throw, still collected by Romanetto. 2 down.
Good piece of hitting by Hallie Law, hitting that one over to third base, but Brooklyn Center gets her feet over in front of it, charges it, and fires it over to first. But pay attention to Caitlin Romanetto over at first. That's a tough play to make. She had to step back to catch that throw, able to keep her foot on the base to get that out number 2.
No balls have reached the outfield grass. 10 of the 17 outs have been by way of ground balls.
And that just has a lot to do with the late movement on the pitches coming out of the hand of Kennedy Watson. She's got that drop ball spin, and you can hear it off the bat of these Nevada batters. Off the end of the bat, that infield's really been busy today, and they've made some fantastic plays.
It all comes down to this. Caroline Waters, the pinch hitter, in. Brooklyn Center at third, and Hayden Bush at second. The left side, that infield done an amazing job to go along with Paige Beskey and Caitlin Romanetta. This one on the ground. Beskey flips it over to first, and the no-hitter is recorded. It's complete. Kennedy Watson with a masterpiece.
Just a phenomenal game